Welcome back. I'm Dr. Laura Berman, and today we're diving into something so many of you have asked me about. Why do people come back after you finally gave them space? Maybe it's an ex, maybe it's a friend, maybe it's someone who pulled away when things got real. But then, out of the blue, they return, and often just when you've begun to move on. Well, there are reasons, and today I'm sharing 20 of them. Let's begin. Number 1. They needed space to process. When someone suddenly pulls away, it's easy to assume the worst, that you did something wrong, that they're angry, or that they've stopped caring. But more often than not, that distance isn't meant to hurt you. It's about them needing time and space to process their own emotions. Relationships, especially deep, meaningful ones, can stir up feelings people aren't always prepared to handle. They may feel overwhelmed, confused, or even afraid of how intense and real everything suddenly became. That step back wasn't about rejecting you, it was about facing parts of themselves they didn't fully understand yet. Space allows people to breathe, to think without pressure, and to figure out what they're truly feeling. And sometimes that distance is exactly what helps them see things more clearly, including what you meant to them. Number 2, they miss the emotional safety you provided. Emotional safety isn't something most people consciously think about until it's gone. Maybe they didn't fully realize it at the time, but being with you gave them a sense of calm, comfort, and understanding that's incredibly rare. You were a safe place, emotionally. Someone they could be vulnerable with. Someone who didn't judge. When they stepped away, they might have thought they needed something else, or believed they'd be fine on their own. But over time, that sense of emotional safety you gave them becomes more noticeable by its absence. They begin to feel the contrast. Interactions with others don't feel the same. The connection doesn't run as deep. And slowly, they come to realize that what they had with you wasn't just comforting, it was real and it was valuable. Missing you isn't always about missing the conversations or the laughs. Sometimes it's about missing the peace you brought into their world. Number 3, absence truly made the heart grow fonder. It might sound like just another overused phrase, but there's a reason people keep saying it, because it's true. When you're constantly available, when your presence is taken for granted, it's easy for someone to overlook your value. But the moment you step back, the silence begins to speak. That absence becomes a mirror, reflecting back all the little things they never fully appreciated. The way you listened, the comfort of your words, the way you made them feel seen without ever needing to explain themselves. In your absence, they begin to remember not just the good times, but the emotional depth behind them. The connection that felt effortless. The understanding that didn't need to be spoken out loud. Time apart doesn't always lead to forgetting. Sometimes it sharpens memory, deepens reflection, and brings forward emotions they never took the time to fully acknowledge. And in that space, they often realize they miss you not just as a person, but as an experience, a feeling they struggle to find anywhere else. Number 4, they thought the grass was greener, and it wasn't. Sometimes people leave thinking they'll find better. Maybe they wanted something new, something different, something easier. They chase the idea that someone else will make them feel more alive, more desired, more free. But over time, reality sets in. The excitement of something new fades, and they begin to see that what they thought was greener grass is just a well-decorated illusion. The surface might shine, but it lacks the depth, the trust, the emotional safety they felt with you. They start to notice the difference, the forced conversations, the emotional disconnect, the absence of that effortless bond. And then it hits them. What they had with you wasn't just a moment, it was something meaningful, something they can't seem to recreate. Sometimes it takes walking away to realize that what they left behind was more genuine than anything they found since. Number 5, they felt your energy pull. Away. Energy is a subtle but incredibly powerful form of communication. When you pour your attention, your time, and your emotional energy into someone, they feel it deeply. It creates a connection, an invisible thread that ties you together. But when you start to pull back, when you stop chasing or stop giving, so much of yourself, that thread begins to loosen. They sense it even if they can't quite put it into words. It's like a shift in the atmosphere around them, an absence that feels heavier than silence. That change in energy can act as a wake-up call. Suddenly, they realize the effort they may have taken for granted, or how much your presence truly meant. Without your energy fueling the connection, they are left with space to reflect, and that reflection can stir up feelings they thought were settled. Sometimes this energetic withdrawal is exactly what pushes them to reconsider the relationship, to recognize the value of what they almost lost. Number 6, you triggered their attachment wound. Distance in a relationship isn't just physical or emotional, it can reach deeper into a person's psyche. For those with insecure attachment styles, stepping back can trigger profound fears of abandonment. These attachment wounds are often rooted in past experiences, sometimes going back to childhood where love felt uncertain or conditional. When you create space, even unintentionally, it can activate those old fears, the fear that they will be left alone, unloved, or rejected. This emotional pain is raw and urgent, and it often leads to a strong internal push to reconnect quickly. Their return isn't always about rational decisions, but about soothing that deep-seated anxiety. Understanding this dynamic helps you see why distance sometimes doesn't create more space, but instead ignites a powerful desire to come back because those wounds demand healing and reassurance. Recognizing this pattern can also help you approach the situation with more compassion, knowing that their need to return is tied to something more than just the present moment. Number 7, they wanted to reclaim control. Not every return is rooted in love or genuine longing. Sometimes people come back because they want to see if they still hold emotional power over you. When someone pulls away, it can create an unspoken tension, a test of boundaries and influence. Their return might be less about reconnecting and more about reclaiming control, trying to see if they can still affect your emotions or decisions. It's important to recognize this behavior because it's different from coming back out of true care or affection. When you understand the difference, you protect yourself from being manipulated or drawn into cycles that don't serve your well-being. Recognizing when someone's return is about power rather than love helps you set clear boundaries and make choices that prioritize your emotional health. Number 8, they saw you glowing without them. One of the most magnetic things you can do is to grow, heal, and find your peace, especially without someone who once meant a lot to you. When you start shining your own light, showing confidence and happiness on your own terms, it changes the energy around you. People notice. That glow becomes impossible to ignore. It's a silent but powerful message that you're thriving, that your worth isn't tied to their presence. And for many, seeing you like this awakens a mixture of admiration, regret, and longing. They realize that what they thought they needed to bring to your life, you've created for yourself. That realization can draw them back, not just because they miss you, but because your strength and peace without them has become something they want to be part of, or something they wish they had supported all along. Number 9, they had a spiritual awakening. Distance sometimes serves a purpose beyond just physical separation. It can create a space for profound inner reflection, where someone is forced to face the deeper wounds they've carried, wounds that might have been hidden under distractions or avoidance. This time apart can lead to a spiritual awakening, a shift in consciousness that brings new understanding and awareness. They begin to see themselves more clearly, their fears, their patterns, and the ways they've been avoiding growth. This awakening often comes with a sincere desire to change, to heal, and to become a better version of themselves. When they return after this inner work, it's not just to pick up where things left off, but to build something more genuine and transformative with you. It's a return rooted in growth, humility, and a hope for deeper connection, rather than repeating past mistakes. This kind of awakening is rare and powerful, signaling a chance for both of you to evolve together. Number 10. They realize they projected their fears onto you. Time and distance can shine a revealing light on the way someone has been relating to you, and sometimes that reflection uncovers uncomfortable truths. Many times, people blame their partner or the relationship for pain that actually stems from their own internal fears, insecurities, or unresolved issues. When they're close, it's easier to project those fears outward, blaming the other person instead of looking inward. But when distance provides space for honest reflection, they can begin to see this pattern for what it really is: projection. They realize that many of the conflicts or accusations weren't truly about you, but about their own inner struggles. This kind of realization can be difficult but necessary for healing. It allows them to take responsibility for their own emotions and behaviors rather than continuing to place blame. When they come back with this awareness, it opens the door to healthier communication, more empathy, and a relationship built on trust and mutual respect, one that acknowledges flaws but chooses to grow beyond them. Number 11. They regretted How they handled things. Distance often brings clarity and maturity. When someone steps away and has time to reflect, they may come face to face with regret. Regret for the words they said, the actions they took, or the way they handled the relationship. It's in these moments of honest self-reflection that true growth begins. They realize that things could have been done differently, more kindly, more patiently, with more care. That regret becomes a powerful motivator, pushing them to come back and try again, to make amends, or to rebuild what was lost. This return isn't just about missing you. It's about wanting to do better and show you a side of themselves they hadn't revealed before. Number 12, their ego took a hit. Sometimes, when someone lets go of a connection because you stopped chasing or showing the same energy, it bruises their ego. Pride can be fragile, and realizing they've lost someone who no longer chases them can challenge their sense of control or importance. In response, they might come back not out of love, but to restore their pride or prove to themselves that they still matter to you. It's essential to recognize this distinction because ego-driven returns look very different from heartfelt ones. While love is about connection, vulnerability, and mutual respect, an ego comeback is often about power, validation, or winning. Understanding this difference empowers you to protect your emotional boundaries and ensure that any reunion is based on genuine care, not just wounded pride. Number 13, they felt your absence in daily life. Sometimes, it's the smallest things that leave the biggest impact. It's not always grand gestures or major moments. It's the little rhythms of everyday life that create a sense of connection and comfort. Your texts, the sound of your laugh, the way you listen without judgment, and the subtle support you offered when no one else noticed. These things build a quiet, steady presence that becomes woven into their daily routine. When you're suddenly gone, those small but significant moments leave a noticeable void. At first, it might feel easy to push aside or ignore, but over time, as the days stretch into weeks and then months, that absence grows louder and harder to dismiss. It echoes in the empty spaces where your presence once was, making them realize just how much you filled their life in ways they didn't fully appreciate before. That growing silence can become a powerful reminder of your importance, drawing your mind back to what they lost, not just the person, but the comfort and familiarity you brought to their world. Number 14, they finally understood your value. It's common for people to hold on to an idea of who someone is, a version shaped by hope, assumptions, or even misunderstandings. But true appreciation often requires distance and reflection. When they step away and remove themselves from the immediate presence of the relationship, they start to see you in a new light. They begin to recognize the depth of your character, kindness, the strength, the unwavering loyalty, and the unique qualities that make you irreplaceable. This isn't the version they imagined or wished for. It's the real you with all your complexities and authentic beauty. This deeper understanding often comes with a mix of humility and regret because they realize your value wasn't just in what you did, but in who you truly are. That recognition can motivate a heartfelt return, one that is rooted not in fleeting attraction or convenience, but in a genuine respect and desire to honor the person you've always been. Distance, in this way, can transform perception, turning what was once taken for granted into something truly cherished. Number 15. They got called out by someone else. Sometimes, the hardest truths come from outside sources, someone who isn't involved emotionally but sees the situation clearly. When a friend, family member, or even a casual acquaintance calls out unhealthy patterns or behaviors, it can act as a wake-up call. This external reflection can help them see what they couldn't or wouldn't acknowledge before. They might suddenly recognize how they contributed to the breakdown of the relationship, how they hurt you, or how they failed to appreciate your presence and support. Losing someone who truly supported their growth, someone like you, becomes painfully real in that moment. This realization isn't always easy to swallow, but it often becomes the catalyst for change. It brings a wave of regret and the hope to make amends, not just to reclaim what they lost, but to become a better person moving forward. Sometimes hearing it from someone else is the push they need to reflect deeply and consider coming back with more maturity and understanding. Number 16. They saw you move on. Watching someone you once had a connection with move on can stir a complex mix of emotions. Whether they're witnessing it firsthand or just perceive it from afar, seeing you grow, thrive, and find peace without them can hit harder than any conversation ever could. It's a powerful reminder that your life no longer revolves around them, that your happiness and success don't depend on their presence. This can trigger feelings of jealousy, loss, and sometimes a deep sense of regret. The realization that you're living your best life without waiting for their return can spark an urgent desire to reconnect. They might feel compelled to come back, hoping to reclaim what they lost before it disappears completely. This kind of response is often less about the past relationship itself and more about the fear of missing out on the version of you that's moving forward. Watching you move on becomes a mirror reflecting what they let slip away, igniting a hope to try again or at least re-enter your life in some way. Number 17. Their support system failed them. When someone chooses to step away from a relationship with you, they often believe that they can find the same kind of emotional support and understanding somewhere else, whether it's friends, family, or new people in their life. But the truth is, the unique bond you shared is difficult to replicate. The emotional safety, the unwavering encouragement, and the genuine acceptance you offered were rare gifts. They might try to lean on others in an attempt to fill that space, only to find that these new sources fall short. The warmth and depth of connection they experienced with you become glaringly obvious in contrast to the shallower or less consistent support they receive elsewhere. This realization can be deeply humbling and serves as a powerful reminder of the true value you brought into their life. When their new support systems fail to meet their emotional needs, they often look back and recognize the irreplaceable bond you once had. This acknowledgement can prompt a sincere desire to return, not out of convenience or habit, but out of genuine understanding of what they lost. Number 18. They felt guilty. Guilt is one of the most potent and persistent emotions a person can experience. It has a way of sneaking up quietly, often long after a relationship has cooled or ended. Sometimes weeks, months, or even years pass before someone truly feels the weight of their past actions or words. That lingering guilt, whether it's for the hurt they caused, the love they neglected, or the moments they took for granted, can become unbearable. It gnaws at their conscience, pushing them to seek reconciliation, to make things right, or at least to reach out and express remorse. Guilt-driven returns are complicated because they come from a place of self-reflection and regret, but also carry the hope for forgiveness and healing. While guilt alone isn't a foundation for lasting change, it can be the first step toward growth and a renewed commitment to treating the relationship with more care and respect. When they reconnect motivated by guilt, it's an opportunity for both of you to address old wounds honestly and decide whether a healthier, more conscious relationship is possible moving forward. Number 19. They realize they want different things now. People change. We all grow and evolve over time, sometimes in ways we don't even expect. What someone wanted in the past might no longer fit who they are today. Distance can give them the time and perspective to reassess their values, goals, and emotional needs. During this period of reflection, they may realize that their desires now align more closely with yours, creating a newfound harmony that didn't exist before. This shift can motivate a return not out of desperation, but because they see the potential for a relationship that better fits their current life and aspirations. It's a sign of personal growth and maturity when someone recognizes that what they truly want is connected to you, even if it didn't seem so before. Number 20. They came back because you let go. There's a powerful, paradoxical truth in relationships. Sometimes the moment you release attachment to the outcome is the moment the other person finds their way back. When you let go, not out of giving up, but out of freeing yourself from pressure and neediness, you create an energetic space that invites genuine choice. This kind of release is magnetic because it shows confidence, self-respect, and peace within yourself. It removes the weight of expectation and control, allowing them to come back not because they feel obligated or coerced, but because they want to. This return is often more authentic and lasting because it's born out of freedom, respect, and mutual desire rather than fear or dependency. Letting go is not about losing someone, it's about creating the conditions where real connection can thrive on its own terms. So what do you do when they come back? That's a whole other conversation. But remember this, you are not responsible for their realization. Your only job is to honor your own worth, your own healing, and your own boundaries. If this resonated with you, give it a thumbs up. Share with someone who needs to hear this, and don't forget to subscribe for more heart-led insight and real talk. Until next time, take gentle care of your soul.